Well, folks, good day to you one and all, and welcome to the final round of Sports and GT Masters Series. What season it has been. Joining me, Mike Side, as usual, for the whole series, and tonight as well, the voice of Westbrom's Motorsport, Frankie Innes. I think we've got a biggie on the go tonight.
Sean McCarthy, now this man is provisionally in 8th position so far with a 142.222, and he is second on the championship with 148 points. Third place man's got a 147, so Sean McCarthy is going to have to go hell for leather this evening and go for a win, knowing that Johan Fourie is not in this one.
So, Johan Fourie, as we said, not going to be racing. Stephen McCarthy and Sean McCarthy, 1 point between them, 148 and 147. Sandro Bakari, not winning a single race this season, but very, very consistent, finds himself there in that 4th position. Willem Botha, who is super duper quick, he's the top qualifier tonight, rounds out the top 5 on 133.
I tell you this for nothing, there's going to be no brotherly love between Stephen and Sean McCarthy. 148 plays 147 for that 2nd and 3rd position. Well, it's going to be all systems go at the full circuit. We come to you from Watkins Glen in New York. There they go behind the Porsche safety car, and pretty soon, Gaza, it's going to be all systems go for the 12th and final round in this season of Sports and GT Master Racing. Do you want to put yourself in the position of the McCarthy brothers right now? Man, they know that 2nd place is up for grabs between the two of them. They know that they cannot catch Johan Fourie. That's a done and dusted deal already. But it's all about which of the McCarthy boys, Gaza, will finish 2nd, which one will finish 3rd. But with double points up for grabs, there's guys in about P4, 5, 6, all the way to P7 that can actually end 2nd and 3rd as well. Right, that's the final corner. The pace car pulls into the pits. The lights will go green, or should I say the lights will go off, and away we go. Willem Botha climbed on the gas way before those lights even went off. So let's hope that that's not going to count against Willem Botha. He decided, man, I am out of here. But the rest of the field making their way around. They're heading up towards that long straight. Look at Willem Botha. He decided, man, I'm going to be out there. He stomped on the gas. He might just have stomped on the gas at exactly the right time as they race it into the inner loop. They're all going through the inner loop into Van der Spey in there. Oh, Van der Spey gets it sideways, and whoop! Lucky boy is Van der Spey, and the rest of them not to make contact as they work their way through the right-hander. Right, so Sandro Bakari with the Willem Pienaar. Robbie Teams is in there right behind Willem Pienaar. Then it's the Batmobile of Andre Steenkamp. Then Sean McCarthy sits right in there. He does not want to be in P7 at this point in time. Right behind him is Sway Schubert, and right in there behind Sway Schubert is the other McCarthy. Stephen McCarthy sits in P9. Only difference between Sean and Stephen is Sway Schubert that sits in there as we ride aboard with Sway Schubert. We have a look at that back end of that Ferrari of Sean McCarthy as they make their way across the start-finish line. That is as quick as they can go into turn number 1. Oh, McCarthy on the brakes. Sway Schubert on the brakes a touch later, and just ahead of McCarthy is Steenkamp. Steenkamp is just ahead of McCarthy as you look at that front left-hand suspension of Sway Schubert's car. Sean McCarthy is crowding the back there of Andre Steenkamp, and Robbie Teens is just ahead. Steenkamp moves to the right, McCarthy moves to the left, and on the inside as he goes through, no he doesn't. As a matter of fact, they are so close into that right-hander, the 4 of them. There's not much between those 4, and that group has been led there by Andre Steenkamp.
Oh, doesn't get much closer than that.
Right, Sean McCarthy out there in a P8. He's just behind Andre Steenkamp. There he comes through. That's the Shuzin car of McCarthy. Robbie Teens in there behind him, followed there by Sway Schubert. Schubert is right on the button there of Robbie Teens as they make their way down the home straight. Stephen McCarthy sits out there in P11. McCarthy coming through in that 11th position, and rounding off the top dozen in P12 is the 75 Ferrari of Colin Plitt. That's the main straight. Sandro Bakari sitting out there in P5. Willem Pienaar in that sixth position, and that's when it gets interesting, because into the right hand it goes Andre Steenkamp, right on his case there. He's a Sean McCarthy, Sean in P8. They're getting slightly away there from Robbie Teens, that sits there in that ninth position, as you have a good look there at Sean McCarthy right on that back bumper there of Andre Steenkamp.
So Sean McCarthy in a very, very decent position. Remember, the McCarthy boys are lying second and third in the championship. Can they get first place? No. The gap is too big between themselves and the man with 6 or 7, I think it is, wins under his belt. They're not going to be able to catch up to him at all. But to a large extent, what's going to count here is off-track incidents and points against you. And there you can see, of the top 10, only Swayze Hubert that's got a point against him so far. Everybody else is keeping their noses clean.
Did you see that back end of that Andre Steenkamp Ferrari squirming around at one stage as he climbed on the gas chasing after Willem Pinaar ahead of him? Watching them both from the nose cam view is Sean McCarthy. Into the right-hander they go, using a bit of a dip there, running out on the track. Is a little bit of a hypnotizing situation going on there. One guy goes off, you run off behind him, you get slightly hypnotized by the guy in front of you. There goes Pinaar, there goes Steenkamp, and there goes McCarthy as they work their way up that long straight towards the inner loop.
Well, there you can see the gaps on the left-hand side moving up now to 5.6 seconds is the gap between Willem Botha and that man, Graham Stephen. Well, there's nothing much between them at this stage of the fight. It's still pretty close. Remember, it's a 90-minute race, so they're going to have 2 pit stops. Very high degradation on the left-hand front tire, medium to high degradation on the right-hand front tire. Very little degradation on the back tire, surprising there. So I think the setup is such that you have got fairly hard tires on the back. From what we've been able to see, between 1.5 and 2.5 seconds on that left-hand front tire per lap when you get down to very close to the last 10-15 minutes of the race, but 15 seconds in the pits to add it to your pit time to be able to change those front tires.
Well, from P4 to P8, there's a lovely, lovely dice. There you just see going into the right-hander is Paul Valesco. Sander Bacardi with the Haas-sponsored Ferrari. He comes underneath us now. Right behind him, Willem Pinaar. Right behind him, Andre Steenkamp. And right on Steenkamp's case, Sean McCarthy. We ride aboard with Andre Steenkamp as he puts his nose right under that Castrol Porsche of Willem Pinaar. As they turn it into the right hand, they'll go slightly uphill. You look at that right-hand side suspension there of that Andre Steenkamp Batmobile. Now they'll pick up that long back straight. Remember, they're heading now towards the inner loop. He does have that inside line for the inner loop. Sean McCarthy's in there as well. Will McCarthy make a move as well? No, McCarthy doesn't. Oh, they're going to be so careful. They hit that inner loop at one hell of a speed. Now into wide. The right hand, he goes wide. He goes wide. He had a look there at Pinaar. He ran wide, and Pinaar kept that position. But Sean McCarthy says, man, I want to run down the chute on the outside there of Andre Steenkamp as they race these cars down towards the toe of the boot.
It doesn't get any tighter than that. Look at that. There you can see, looking back from the right rear of Andre Steenkamp, that's Eugene Properties car all over the back of him. Swayze Hubert finds himself just inside the top 10, not where he wants to be. He's up already 2 positions. He's only 4 seconds that he is off that car of Andre Steenkamp. It's close enough. It's where he wants to be. It's what he wants to do, but must not get bonus points against him for contact.
Yeah, no, you don't want any points against you at this point in time. This is round 12 out of 12. Sports and GT Masters, Watkins Glen, New York City. Into that right-hander they go. That's the final right-hander that takes them back onto the start-finish line. Andre Steenkamp, that's the fight I want to see. Willem Pinaar, right behind him, Andre Steenkamp, right behind him, Sean McCarthy, and right in there as well is Swayze Hubert. Swayze Hubert in that 9th position. Oh, what off the circuit goes Steenkamp, and McCarthy goes to the move on the inside, and yes, he nails him. Sean McCarthy moves up 1 position ahead there of Andre Steenkamp.
Well, you would think the McCarthy boys are sitting 2nd and 3rd in the championship. They need to have a nice clean run here to hold on to that, and they're doing exactly what they needed to do tonight to make sure that they're holding on to those coveted top 3 positions. All things being equal, Sean McCarthy lying there in a 7th position, Stephen in 11th with a clean slate. It could just be enough to stay there.
Yeah, look at Sway Schubert. Sway Schubert also says I want to have a look. So that one is hotting up there behind the battle between Pienaar and Sean McCarthy. That's McCarthy going into the right-hander. Sway Schubert, yes, Sway Schubert has got him. Sway Schubert is ahead of Andre Steenkamp. Well, I'll tell you this for nothing, and that Willem Botha will certainly fancy his chances not only of winning this one and getting double points, but if he can score all those other points as well. Remember, he is also mathematically in with a shout to finish either 2nd or 3rd, and I do believe that the McCarthy boys will definitely know this, so they're going to ride these things or drive these things as hard as they can. McCarthy indeed is getting closer and closer to Paul Velasco. You just see Velasco moving out of shot there. They've got the Camel Porsche ahead of them. That's a back marker, and ahead of the back marker is the 72 Ferrari of Sandro Beccari.
And look who's coming into the pits now. The leader, Francois Joubert, and Sandro Beccari, which means
and
that
Sean
McCarthy
in.
Woo!
McCarthy in.
Locks it up big. Andre Steenkamp says,
In.
I can't go no further. I'm coming in as well. And then Robbie Tings comes in as well. So the next man to come through, there he comes. Willem Botha, bye-bye, boys. Here I go. The Red Bull car goes to the front. So who's the next man coming through? That must be Graham Stephen. There he is. That's the bottom end of the pit lane. And he also says, bye-bye, boys. Look at that battle box on the right-hand side. He just goes past them one after the other as they are standing there in the pits. Stephen McCarthy has come in as well.
There in P5, the creepy crawly Ford of Paul Velasco. I think his domicile is in Germany, if I'm not mistaken, Paul Velasco. Here we go. Willem Pienaar and Sean McCarthy. That is 6 and 7 on the leaderboard. Just ahead of them, you saw Velasco go through. Here comes Sean McCarthy. He's right on the back bumper of the Porsche of Pienaar. They side by side. Are they racing towards the inner loop? Yes, they are, and the move gets made there by McCarthy. Goes in very hot, but somehow he manages to hold it. Willem Pienaar is retaliating as they race through that right-hander. That's the outer loop down the chute, which will take them into a left-hander, and from there they'll work their way down to the toe of the boot. But my goodness, Pienaar came back there at McCarthy rather very hot at the exit of the inner loop.
For somebody that's in the top 3 position in the championship for the season and taking on the likes of Willem Pienaar with robust moves like that, that's either brave or it's not used the other. Well, I think it was insane, but that's what's got him to where he is in the championship. He goes out there to race. He goes out there to win. He doesn't have a race win, but he's very, very consistent. Hence, McCarthy boys in very, very strong positions for this, the last race of the season. Lap 29, 48 and a half minutes gone of 1.5 hours. It's still a long race. Now you can see why he had to go against Willem Botha, because Willem Botha 133 to 147 and 148 for the McCarthy boys. Let's have a look at Sandro Beccari. He is the closest to a possible second position, finding himself just 5 points back from Stephen McCarthy. So let's take that away, go back to our race, and where does Sandro Beccari find himself? In a very decent position in 4th place. That explains why Sean McCarthy is pushing so hard. Sandro Beccari is the glitch in the system for the McCarthy boys tonight. So, Sandro Beccari, welcome to the serious side of racing, and there he goes in the Haas colours.
Well, I'll tell you what, as I was saying earlier on, Sean finds himself in P6. And where is Stephen? P12. So, and Stephen, as I said, is sitting second in the championship. He's in 12th. His brother, third, is in 6th. And Beccari, as Gary was saying, could come and upset the apple cart for both the McCarthy brothers for that second position. So, I'm sure Johannes sitting at home watching this saying, man, I'd love to be in it. But this is pretty entertaining stuff to see these guys fight each other for that second position.
But look at that, Sean McCarthy's closing the gap. Sean McCarthy's coming with to play. Sean McCarthy in there behind the likes of Paul Velasco, and what he'll be seeing in front of him He can see the target. The target is called Paul Velasco.
Yeah, oh, look how quick they go through that inner loop. They're using the track and the rumble strip. On the shark's teeth they go as they work their way into that right-hander. That is the outer loop. Now they'll drop down that chute, which will take them into the left-hander. That'll keep on just going down that chute. Then take them into the right-hander, which is the toe of the boot. On the brake pedal, they'll turn right. Look at that lovely racing line. They'll run it out wide onto the outside of that track. Yeah, you see, using almost the dirt there. That's coming out of the toe of the boot. That long run into the right-hander, which is the heel of the boot. Into that right-hander they go. Now they'll start climbing up the hill into the left-hander. There'll be a left-hander in front of them. There through that left-hander they go. Then they'll be on the gas briefly. There'll be another left-hander waiting for them at the end of this straight. Into that left-hander they go. Now we are virtually at the end of the lap, dropping slightly down into that right-hander, which takes you back onto the home straight.
Oh, what a lap that was, and really pushing it hard. Sean McCarthy, he can smell it, he can see it, he can feel it. He can't catch Johan Ferry, but he can end up second overall, and if he stays right where he is, if Eskom liked him, they would switch South Africa off right now, and he would be second overall for the season. But thanks to Eskom, the likes of the rest of everybody out there still in with a chance.
Yeah, and he is in with a chance. He is closing up there. He's Sean McCarthy on Paul Velasco. Paul Velasco P5, McCarthy P6. Into the right-hander they go. Not too far behind them. We just picked up a glimpse of that Castrol Porsche. That is Willem Pienaar. There he goes in a P7.
The other one to come through now is going to be Sean McCarthy, and McCarthy did not go in. That now moves Sean McCarthy up into a very solid third position. One pit stop still to go for him.
Yeah, so he needs to make that pit stop. Well, he does not want to see Sandro Bakari ahead of him, especially not in the lead. Willem Botha, I'm almost certain, will take the lead right back again the moment that Bakari does make his second pit stop. But for now, it is the way it is. McCarthy sitting there in that third place, chasing down a whole heap of motor cars. As a matter of fact, he's got a back marker ahead of him, and then ahead of that back marker is Willem Botha. That's in that second position. So Sean McCarthy still out there in that second place.
He's still got a pit.
Yes, and Graham Stephen is 17 seconds behind him. Stephen will definitely move back up into that second position the moment that that man on screen there, Sean McCarthy, makes his way into pit lane. 1 hour and 11 minutes done in this 1.5 hour race. Is he going to hit pit lane? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's on the inside of that yellow line, which means he will make his way into pit lane. Well, let's have a look, see where he ends up. Yes, he does.
Sean?
Paul Velasco moved up a couple of places. He sits there in that fourth spot. He's not ahead, however, of Sean McCarthy.
So Sean McCarthy just ahead of him. In fact, Sean should be just a little up the road from him. Let's have a look at track position. Yep, there he is, just ahead. There goes the man that he would like to be catching, just a little bit further up the highway from Paul Velasco is that man, Sean McCarthy.
Yeah, he's just over 8.5 seconds behind Sean McCarthy. He's Paul Velasco. That is McCarthy. That's making his way down the chute.
Well, there you see the gains and losses that has happened so far from Paul. Still in front is Willem Botha. Graham Stephen on second, still there. Sean McCarthy doing his championship hopes, everything that he needed. He's got himself ahead now of Sandro Bakari. He's made up 6 positions. Sandro Bakari only having made up 1. Francois Joubert started in third position. He's dropped down 2, still finds himself inside the top 5. But that Sandro Bakari battle for him and Sean McCarthy, not much between the two of them. But I don't believe with the time that is left, which is literally 9 minutes, that Sandro Bakari is going to be able to make up that position. Well, that's interesting stuff. Let's see what was the last lap times that they did. Sean McCarthy a 43.5 A 43.9 by Sandra Bakari. Sean McCarthy slowly but surely now making good of his promise for a second overall for the season, and slowly but surely at the moment edging away from a very good ride from Sandra Bakari, ahead of some well-known names in the likes of Francois Joubert, Paul Valesco, Andre Steenkamp in the Batmobile, Robbie Teings, Colin Plitt still in the top 10, and then Dr. Mike, the man that put it all together, still in there in the top 10 position.
Left in this one, and these guys must be tired. Remember, it's not just the hour-and-a-half race. Before that, they had the 10-minute qualifying session, and before that, they had a 20-minute practice session. So these guys, all 20-odd of them, have been going in their rigs since 8 p.m. local time, and they are still going flat out with 6 minutes left. But we will tell you who the winner is within the next almost 4 minutes of this one, and it should be Willem Botha unless something goes horribly wrong. Sean McCarthy coming through. He wants to stay ahead there of Sandra Bakari. That's the Gulf-coloured car. That is our friend from Switzerland that he's putting a lap on there. That's Gerald. That's just been lapped there by Sean McCarthy. He just keeps right out the way. Lovely to see all the new guys coming in, and lots of international flavour coming into our Sports and GT Master Series, and hopefully we'll have more of them for the next round.
Well, the way I see it, it will be Johan Fourie, the two McCarthys, Willem Botha, and who knows who's going to round out the top 5. But that's the way I see it at this stage of the fight. That is such a tight battle.
Am I seeing right? Is that Francois and Sandro, that's side by side going into the right hand? And if that's the case, Gary, then that is the fight for 4th position between Sandra Bakari and Francois Joubert. And Francois Joubert is right there on that back bumper of Bakari, and this is exactly what Sean McCarthy wants. He wants to see Francois Joubert give that man ahead of him, Sandra Bakari, all sorts of uphill, literally, as they're going up the hill. And that will make life a touch more easier for him. So this is a lovely fight in the closing minutes of this race between Sandra Bakari in P4 and the man you're looking from the front view now, Francois Joubert.
Remember, it's literally 1, 2, 3 points between Sean McCarthy and Sandra Bakari for second in the championship, barring Willem Botha with a full house. He cannot afford to give that position away. He's got to concentrate on what he's doing, but he has to also know, the pressure's on, the pressure's on. Francois Joubert's got nothing to lose. He's got nothing to lose on that one whatsoever. Look at that. It doesn't get any closer than that as they work their way past that static camera shot. And I think Sandra Bakari must be praying very, very hard right now that this race comes to an end. 1:27 and 57 seconds. Just 2 more minutes. He's got to keep it all together. Can he give that position away to Francois Joubert and hold on to second in the championship? If he gives it away, is he safer? Look there, Francois Joubert up on the inside line again. Now they're side by side. I think Bakari's going to back out of it. I really think he'll back. No, he doesn't. Sandra Bakari's not in. Oh, they make contact. You can't get any closer than that. It's less than 2 minutes to go. It's the final deciding last maneuvers of the season.
Well, and Francois Joubert has eventually got his nose ahead of Sandra Bakari, and that is exactly what Sean McCarthy wanted. Sandra Bakari dropping in there just behind Francois Joubert. Joubert in P4, Bakari drops down to P5. He's got less than a quarter lap to go. This is Willem Botha's final lap, racing it uphill, turning it into that right-hander. And that's coming out of the heel of the boot. Now, running it up the hill, he'll turn left. He's almost home. Willem Botha into that left-hander. Just stomp on the gas pedal, and then there's another left-hander. This is the second last corner of Watkins Glen. And the final corner awaits race leader Willem Botha. There's the pit lane. There's a start-finish line. Lights are flashing. Well done. The bullet man, Rocket Willem Botha, brings it home in P1.
Well, second out on circuit. You can see that's the yellow number 2 with the green around it on your track map on the right-hand side. That's him coming through to take the last 2 corners. A lovely drive there by Graham Stephen. one of the best newcomers to the sports, and I think probably the best newcomer to sports in GT 2021, and he'll come across the line for that second position. Next man through a little bit further back will be Sean McCarthy. There you see Sean McCarthy got 3 more corners to go. The Suzine Properties car, I think he has done enough to stay ahead of Sandro Bakari. It all goes down to those penalty points for contact and off tracks. I think it's going to be very close between the two of them for second overall behind the kingpin Johan Fourie for the championship.
Right, the checkered flag is out. The man with the checkered flag waves, the lights flash, and Sean McCarthy finishes in a third position. Francois Joubert, there he crosses the line. Francois Joubert finishes in fourth. Sandro Bakari flashes his lights as he finishes. This has been a fantastic 12-rounder, I should say, of our Western Province Sports and GT Master Series.
Top 17 with all within a lap of one another, just one lap down. Peter Joubert down there in 17th position. Willem Botha from Graham Stephen, what a lovely ride that was by him, I must say, one of his best. Graham Stephen, probably the best newcomer to the series. Sean McCarthy, I think he's probably wrapped up that second position.